Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm gonna be recapping today. I ended up taking two trades today, one loss and one win, so up around 150-ish dollars on the day. So basically break even in a sense. Well, green on the day, but basically break even. So today is the the 15th of December, 2025. This is going to be my last week of trading in the month of December. I liked this week's news lineup, but except for that, and we are coming in towards Christmas, towards all the bank holidays going to be happening all over the world. So price action is definitely going to fall off after this week, but we do have some pretty good news this week. So I am a fan of this week. So I said I would trade this week. It's probably going to be my last week of trading, to be honest. So this year, of course, obviously. So coming into today, I'm going to go over the two trades that I took, why I took them, and my bias coming into today. So originally my bias was actually bullish coming into today. Now, the reason why it was bullish was pretty simple. It was because we're delivering from sell side. We are respecting bearish gaps, higher time frame bearish gaps, so hourly gaps, whatnot. Respecting hourly gaps, sweeping lows, moving higher, disrespecting hourly gaps to the left of us. And then we entered this 4 hour gap. And to be honest, I didn't really have faith in this 4 hour gap. I thought it was kind of just not going to hold, but it ended up holding today, and we did end up being bearish. I was also bullish as well because we had a SMT with these lows, where we were also inside of a daily fair value gap as well. So we're inside of a daily fair value gap, and we had an SMT inside of a daily fair value gap. So SMT with daily low inside of a daily fair value gap, I was pretty bullish on the higher time frame, right? So cool. But I said the way we had this unfill 15-minute up here, and then I just had this marker out. This is just a inversion on the 4 hour. If we were to inverse, that's where we close above. But I had this unfill 15-minute up here as targets. Honestly, didn't really have much stronger targets above. We do have these highs up here, but like probably not going to get met today, even if we were going to be bullish. There was an unfill 4 hour up here. But well, actually, if we were bullish, we might have actually ended up hitting those. But I was just low key looking for some generated buy side up here, some retrace lower, and then just a move higher to catch a trade up towards there. So cool. Let's go into market open and see what market open does, which is. Do you think is this market open? No, it's next candle. Cool. So market opens higher, I think, if I'm right. Does that open higher? Let me go into the 1 minute and check. No, it doesn't. No. Market just dumps on open, low key. Market just dumps on open and ends up dumping for the entire day, realistically. We came into this, so this is my condition. Sorry, what I wanted to see happen was for us to either A, there's like two options I was looking at. Okay. And those options were A, either pair, so ES or NQ, comes down, sweeps out this internal structure, this 15-minute internal structure, and we get a rejection off a higher time frame PD ray in here, and then we have like a V-shaped recovery to the upside with a clean displacement through a bearish for value gap. Or option B was we came into this 15-minute fair value gap here, we respected it, and then either pair, we had like an SMT with like one of these lows here. Because I don't know, like it has to be really obvious rejection for me to take a trade off this, because it's a 30-minute to be fair. So yeah, option A was this, option B was this. So they were my sort of conditions for today. So we ended up just rinsing through this entire area, strong displacement down, and we ended up coming into this unfilled hourly fair value gap right here and taking out this 15-minute internal structure, this internal liquidity to the downside right here as well. So we ended up taking out that liquidity, and we ended up coming into this hourly unfilled fair value gap. And at this point, I was all down for longs, right? So we were generating some nice liquidity. We had an unfilled 5-minute above, and we had this 2-minute as well. And we also had this high right here as well inside this 2-minute, which is my break-even point. So this is the first trade that I ended up taking today. Swept out internal structures to the left of us. I had a bullish bias, SMT, inside of a daily fair value gap, delivering higher from sell side, disrespecting bearish gaps. Even though we were in a 4 hour, I didn't believe it was going to hold. If anything, just delivered us down to here, which is what it did. And I think we opened up this 2-minute fair value gap right here. Yeah, right here. And we had pretty strong displacement through. So just a nice, beautiful V-shaped recovery right through this gap. I ended up entering long here. My target was to unfill 5-minute up here because that is an area where we could reject off. And if I was wrong for this trade, if we weren't going to go higher, and this was 65 points, like this is nice. It was I think I had my stop loss right here, so 38-point stop loss. Really strong displacement right through that 2-minute, no messing around, just a V-shaped recovery, and we ended up getting stopped out on the next two candles. So it's just unfortunate, right? It's what it is. It was an A plus setup in my eyes, just the wrong bias for today, which is what it is. The only reason I can see my bias being incorrect for today was I believe we had a 4 hour SMT inside of a 4 hour gap. and we were like overall looking bearish in a sense, I guess, because we are like, if we look at the daily time frame here, we not in the daily, I mean the 4 hour here, like we're in this area here, we're looking technically bearish, right? So we could end up coming down sweeping out more lows, but to be honest, on the daily, if you just look at the daily time frame, like we're looking pretty fucking bullish, you know, looking pretty bullish. Boom, boom. SMT down here as well, but I think there was an SMT inside this 4 hour gap, and we did fill the CE as well. And then right after that, we did have a 15-minute break of structure to the downside, I suppose. So there was a bearish side of things, but I was more leaning bullish. In my eyes, this was a clear A plus setup, though. We came into this hourly fair value gap, and this was around 948. So this hourly fair value gap was still getting respected at this time. And we had really strong displacement right through that fair value gap. That 2 minute there, I ended up entering longs there. I guess the only other thing maybe that I should have looked out for was that ES was like kind of down here. So ES was pretty close to London lows and Asia lows. So I guess in that sense it wasn't the best, but like on paper this trade was really clean. And if I didn't take this and it did play out, I know I'd be kicking myself in the shins for not taking this, right? So is what it is, just the wrong bias for today. We definitely were not bullish today. We ended up being bearish. So at this point now, I was like, okay, that setup didn't play out, and that's fine, whatever. Let's see what we do here. So we came down towards London. I was like, there could be a long from here, but there was none. There's really strong displacement right through London lows. So at this point, I was like, okay, cool. The next obvious draw on liquidity to me at this moment in time is going to be the previous day low and sell side, external sell side, so the weekly low, right? So this entire range is low because like the market was telling me that we really wanted to go there. It was super, super strong displacement right down there, even past all these like areas, which I would like to see us reject off. We did not reject off them at all. We just completely slammed through them. The only area I seen a bit of rejection off was this, which was like, which is one of my conditions for today, which just didn't end up playing out. But I thought the setup was really clean. I'd take that setup any day, to be honest. So can't be mad about that. Cool. So we opened up this bearish 5 minute for value gap, and I had my condition for this now. I was like, okay, if we're going to be bearish here, and we're going to continue being bearish down to previous day low and this weekly low right here, I would like to see price retrace into this, reject out of this gap, and then get an inversion down from that gap to these draws on liquidity down here, these external draws, right? So on the next candle, I think we end up coming into that 5 minute for value gap. Yep, super, like just perfect, like perfect rejection. Hits the CE, respects the CE of the fair value gap, immediate rejection to the downside, and then we clear out this. We have this 1 minute fair value gap here, which was the highest time frame for value gap that we had. No 2 minute, just a 1 minute. So I was liking this if we displace through this, which I think we do on this next candle. Yep, displace through it right here. I entered shorts here, or maybe I think it was like a little bit higher. Yeah, no, it was right here. I entered shorts right here on this close, with my stop right at the body here. So it's a 43-point stop. TP was 64 points, and there wasn't really any break-even spot here. Now I know you might say, why did you enter if we took out this? But it was just so obvious to me, like because of what we were doing the entire day. Like we were so bearish. We respected this 5 minute immediate rejection out of it, clean displacement through that 1 minute, clear draws lower. And if we just look at like the 15-minute time frame, like there really is just nothing stopping us from going there. Like there's nothing. There's no fair value gap here in the higher time frame. I don't even, what's there, a 5 minute? There could have been a 5 minute. There wasn't actually. There wasn't even a 5 minute fair value gap here stopping us moving lower here. Like it was just too obvious for me to not take. So I ended up taking it here. My break even point was just PDL. The reason I didn't TP PDL was pretty simple. I was just super confident in this trade. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was just by this market structure alone, it was just telling me that we wanted to take out this entire external range. Really strong displacement through everything to the left of us. Disrespected everything to the left of us. Clean delivery through everything. Didn't respect a singular thing except for this hourly here when we had this clean 2 minute inversion. I guess that was a bit, but that's it. So yeah, I think we ended up coming down decently. We ended up talking a bit, and then we started spacing. Took out previous day low right here, and I moved my stop loss to break even, and I almost got slapped by the Jews today. Shouldn't say that actually, where they come for me. But we ended up reversing here a small bit, and we ended up kind of coming close enough to my break even, but then instantly we just swept out like this 1 minute internal high inside this 1 minute fair value gap and had strong displacement right through this bullish 1 minute right here, and we ended up delivering to my final draw there for the day. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Pretty simple. Didn't get married to a bias again. Well, technically, well, no, I didn't, because this was an A plus setup. Like I would take this setup any day. I'm not going to lie to you. This setup was clean. Had a really nice break even point. Solid risk to reward. Was clean. It was just nice. Like I would take this setup again tomorrow if it came to me. just the incorrect bias for today. But again, we flipped our bias because we had our condition with this 5 minute fair value gap, and it ended up paying out. So again, not married to a bias or anything, just purely reactive after that. And we ended up being in profit for the day because of that. So that's pretty much it. I'm not sure what we did after this. I think we just kind of messed about down here, and then we ended up just spicing up to this 50 minute and then delivering lower and then chopped during New European session, usual shit. So that's pretty much it for today. Yeah, not a bad way to start the week. Is what it is. Two really good setups in my eyes presented themselves down to decent draws and good draws. One ended up losing, which was okay, and the other ended up playing out pretty nicely once we determined the bias as being bearish instead of bullish. So yeah, that's going to be it for today's recap, guys. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. My socials are going to be in the link as well. Don't have any links, but they're just the name of them. So it's going to be my Instagram, TikTok, and my Discord. If you want to add or DM me on any of those, ask any questions about trading, I can definitely answer them. And that's going to be it for today's video, guys. Honestly, going into tomorrow, I think we have some decent news. I'm not going to lie, at 10 a.m. anyway, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we don't. Okay, so we have some crazy news coming in. Hella red folders tomorrow for the USD. Yeah, wow. Tomorrow's pre-market is probably going to be extremely volatile. 2:45 as well. We have PMI, and then I think on Wednesday we have nothing, but on Thursday we have CPI, which is interesting. I'm probably going to full port CPI with an eval, to be honest with you. It's kind of an easy pass if you know what you're doing when it comes to CPI. So yeah, I guess we'll be doing that on Thursday. I'll tell you guys how that goes for sure. But tomorrow should be a pretty volatile day. We're gonna have a bunch of data and have probably a big data wick from 1:30 from pre-market. So probably gonna be a nice strong liquidity depending on where we're headed. And then we also have PMI at 2:45. So probably not going to be any trading realistically till around 10 a.m.'s open. And because that's a lot of news that I don't want to get caught up in, if I'm going to be 100% honest with you. So yeah, that's going to be it for today's recap, guys. Again, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I will catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.